Okay, welcome everyone, and thank you for joining us tonight for our Life After Uplift session for our middle school and high school families.
Bienvenidos a todos, gracias por estar con nosotros. Esta es la sesión para ustedes, los padres, para sus estudiantes de vida después de Uplift.
And I'm going to hand it over to our campus leadership team to share some words.
Ahorita se lo pasaremos a nuestros directivos de PIC para que nomás comparten unas pocas palabras.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Ortiz and I'm the Dean of College Prep at Uplift Peak Preparatory.
Hola a todos, es la directora Ganich de la preparatoria PIC para el camino de universidad.
And I just wanted to share a warm welcome on behalf of the entire Uplift Peaks leadership team. Our directors couldn't be with us this evening, but I just wanted to share how excited I am for all of you as our parents to learn from our alumni, to see what they have been doing after they left Peak, and to obviously share any questions with us, any questions that you may have of them.
Solo quería darle un saludo grande a ustedes por estar aquí. Algunos de nuestros directores no pudieron estar, pero al estar aquí esperadamente pueden aprender y escuchar de nuestros alumnos para que les cuenten lo que han experienciado como estudiantes.
Ms. Orsini, our college counselor, and I will be representing Peak this evening. We're here if you have any questions, and of course after this session, if there is anything we can do for you, please don't hesitate to reach out, call our main office or email us. I'm going to put my contact information in the chat so you can easily take a picture of it. Let us know what we can do to make your experience as Uplift Peaks parents and families in general better. And with that, I'm turning it over to our amazing CMO team, Road to College and Career team, who will be sharing with you the next steps in this evening's process. Welcome again.
Bienvenidos, y cualquier pregunta o cosa que tengan en mente, la directora Ganesh va a poner su contacto en el chat. También está aquí Ms. Orsini, por si tienen cualquier otra pregunta, nomás para darle las respuestas que ustedes necesiten como padres de PEAK.
So my name is Robert Ortiz, and I'm the Director of Family Engagement for College and Career. I sit on our CMO team, and so I'm happy to be joining the PEAK family this evening. And then we do have Pedro Estrada with us, who is a PEAK alum. So we're super excited for him to share his journey and experiences of transitioning to college that can be insightful and helpful for us as we are supporting scholars, your scholars, in that similar process. And then I'll also hand it over to our PEAK colleagues to introduce themselves before we get started.
I am Becky Orsini. I work with the seniors and the juniors mostly, but I'm a college counselor at PEAK Preparatory. So anything having to do with college applications or financial aid and getting the students to their destination of choice after high school, whether that also include working or some type of career education. I help out with those things as well.
I did a quick introduction. I know Ms. Cedillo. I don't know who is hiding behind the other name, but we have been PEAK parents for a very long time together. I'm the Dean of College Prep at Uplift Peak. I lead the Road to College team, CTE department, Fine Arts department, and theater and writing teams as well. So I have a lot of people that are connected to us in some way, shape, or form. And with that said, I guess we can get started.
Awesome. So Pedro, really excited to have you with us. Just want to get us started by having you share more about just your background. What year did you graduate from PEAK? what school you're attending now, and what your intended major is.
All right, excited to be here. Hello, everybody. I'm Pedro Estrada. I graduated from Peak in 2019, and I'm currently attending Brandeis, which is located in Massachusetts, Waltham. My major of choice right now is economics. I plan to double major in Latin American studies, really trying to aim high with the education I got from Uplift. Is there anything else that I missed there?
I'm curious, are you on the East Coast now, or are you in Texas?
The East Coast would never have such wonderful weather right now.
That's what I thought, so I was curious.
So
Yeah.
true. So true.
I've got a question for you, Pedro. Can you provide an overview of your Uplift experience, and then what and who were your support systems that kind of helped you along your journey, especially as you were deciding which college to attend?
So the support systems that I received from Uplift Education were really my road to college mentors and the people that I was also just learning with. Being able to talk with people that were also willing to join a university or higher education really propels you forward into the thought of that I can do this. There is support. There are people just like me that are in the exact same position that will get me through this. And my road to college mentors, they really helped me out. They pushed me to get the scholarships. They pushed me to sign up for FAFSA. They were the helping hand that I needed, because otherwise I really wouldn't have known what to do, where I could have gone, how broad my opportunities were at the time. Without them, it would have been a real mess. I am sure of that.
Thanks for sharing that. Yep, the Road to College and Career team at Peak are outstanding, and which leads to the next question. So, are you in your first year, Pedro?
I am currently in my sophomore, rising to be a junior this coming semester.
Nice. Very cool. So if you can think back to your first semester, or maybe even your first year, what do you think was the most challenging piece about that transition? Or maybe there were a couple of things. And how did you overcome them that first semester, that first year? And was there something during your time at Uplift that helped you move forward? Something that you learned or gained during your time here that you were able to really think about and leverage to get you through those challenging times?
The most challenging things about the first year, it was definitely the change of pace. College and Uplift have a different pace. Immediately you get to hit the ground running. There is at Uplift, you form a community, especially at Peak. It's a small school, so you get to really know the people you're with. The first couple of weeks, it's an introduction. You get to understand who you're with. But in college, I had the privilege of going there a bit earlier. So I was able to talk with some of my teachers and people that I would be going to school with, because I was accepted into a support program. And that gave me a good amount of confidence. But what I really brought, the skills that I brought with from Uplift were just organization. I wanted to, if I didn't organize myself, hitting the ground running, I would have left behind an entire array of assignments that would have gone missing otherwise. I found myself looking back and thinking about, well, how did my teachers tell me to make my notes? How did I learn exactly how to write down the information that I would listen to in a seminar? Nobody would tell you what to write down, but you'd have to figure out what you would do. It's about critical choices that you make whenever you're listening to people on campus. It's very important. And those skills I definitely brought with me from my Uplift time, talking with my mentors, going to events that they told me, like, hey, listen, if you can listen to this and you can understand what they're talking about, you're gonna be able to go through college a whole lot easier. So definitely big things that you can bring from college, from Uplift to college.
Thank you, Pedro. Our next question says, there are thousands of college students who are living through the COVID college experience, which we all know has not been great. What would you say to students who are feeling discouraged or unmotivated about being a college student, especially those that might think college education has lost its value? It's a tough one.
That is a tough one. I think I've had some friends who have become discouraged, who have lost their fight. It's kind of a very long battle. We didn't really know how long it was going to take. At the beginning, it was 2 weeks, and then it turned into a year. So everybody just kind of kept going downhill for a good while. But the college experience and during quarantine, it's rough, but you get to appreciate the value of information. Education is so vital that you begin to realize just how important your teachers are. Looking at them through a screen really makes you desire to like walk up to their office and ask, hey, I need help with this. I don't understand this. And it pushes you to go into their virtual office hours. It makes you want to be able to go into campus running, because you're sitting down on a computer screen and you're not running, you're just listening. And it isn't really enjoyable, but to the people that are discouraged right now, to the students that are definitely thinking that this isn't it anymore, it's an investment. It's something that you have to really think about, and that thought is going to take you to places that you've never been to before, see things that you've never seen before, learn things that will blow your mind, expand your entire mindset. It's going to change who you are as a person for the better. It's really something to look forward to. Right now, it's a bit stressful, but if you can push through it, it is going to be an incredible reward.
Words of the wise. That was awesome. Love it. So my follow-up question for you, Pedro, is, so you're one of those students who are having a COVID-19 college experience. So you're in the thick of it. So what has kept you motivated through this crazy time where, like, as you said, you thought it was going to be 2 weeks. Now it's a year. And I'm assuming you're doing online classes right now. And so, yeah, I know you shared like it's an investment and maybe that's part of it, but if you can maybe speak to a little bit more of what's really kept you going.
It was definitely the mindset. At the beginning, after the 2 weeks, and it was imagining that it was just going to be a month and that was it. And then it was, it's just another month. But at the beginning, it was very rough. My mindset was negative. I was beginning to think, wow, this is not going to be what I thought it was going to be. But I think that applies to most of things in life. Looking at things positively, you just have to be able to see the bright light. Otherwise, you'll be lost in the darkness. It's just a very unique thing. You must be able to find a hobby or find people that really appreciate you, somebody that can talk to you and just talk about education, just further yourself into the knowledge that you're trying to sink yourself into. It's more about putting yourself in the right mindset, staring at the sunset if you need to, just taking a break from the very oppressive technology state that we live in right now, the very controlling way of thought that we pick up the phone, put it down, pick up the phone, check our email. It's rough, but being able to escape from that, give yourself a little refuge, and then come back into it. It lessens your soul. It's just a burden that's lifted off. It's very helpful. I came back here for fall of that coming semester, so I was finishing spring, and summer was great. No school, so summer was great. It was an amazing time. It felt like an expanded break for a while, and then fall hit and seasonal depression hit. And that's when I began to think, oh, well, I really got to find something to do, something to keep me intact where I'm at. Even though I'm not there, I have to be pretending that I am, because I'm going to be there in a bit. It's not going to be that long. Everything's going to sort itself out. Just got to be going with the flow.
Self-care, man, self-care.
Exactly.
If I could do one more follow-up before going on to our next question. So I think hopefully, fingers crossed, knock on wood, that we're seeing brighter days as we go into this summer, so summer 2021, fall 2021. But there still may be some different learning options. Maybe there still would be online. I think a lot of schools are going to do a hybrid option. So maybe it's like going to class one day a week while the rest is still online. And so there could still be some type of online learning for college students as we go to the fall. So for seniors who are graduating and anticipating going to start their first semester, would you share some advice on how they can be prepared for that? So it may still be a college experience that they're not used to or what we know it to be. There may still be some modifications. So what would be some words you would share with them as they're thinking about that, and how can they prepare for a different type of college experience? I know that's a loaded one, so.
Yeah, it's a big one, but I think if I was somehow be able to talk to myself back then, it would pick up something, you know, try to explore the options. That education really does set you forth on a path where music just becomes so much brighter, art becomes so much more in depth. You're able to understand things that are beyond the surface level. So if you allow yourself to really think about what it is that you love, give yourself a day, just meditate on it, give yourself a time of the week or something to weekly go, well, this is what I like, I'm enjoying this, reflect on what you've been doing. If you can find something that gets you in a headspace where it isn't really learning, but it's something where you're in love with it and you feel yourself growing, and there's something about it that's really going to be pushing you forward, find that. You know, it's going to be tough, definitely a moment. There are so many distractions nowadays. I mean, videos of 7 seconds long, bringing down our attention span to even shorter than that. Really drag yourself away if you have to from the electronics. Find something that gives you value in terms of your spiritual health, makes you want to really look at the person that you thought was going to be you in the future and just keep them going forward, because they're alone and you can help, give yourself a helping hand. It's going to be great. You just have to be able to focus on what you love. You don't have to really, you know, stress about, well, I got this amount of assignments and this amount of things to do, and I'm in my senior year and it's rough already. Definitely, I understand that. I have my little sister inside. She's going into her junior year as well. It's rough on her. I see that, but I always tell her, like, you know, there's things to do. This isn't the end of the road. Even if you don't decide that college will be your thing, it's always important to focus yourself on becoming a better you. So finding your things that you love, that's what I would give. Find something that you can bring with you. You know, not like I guess, I don't know what would be a thing, like pimping out your car or something, or very, you know, street racing, I guess. Find something that you can bring with you in your head. It's very important that it's there.
Nice. Yeah, it's about the balance where you're not putting all your time and energy in one spot, but you're distributing it in other things. Very good. Thank you.
Lastly, if you had the opportunity to talk to parents, which I think we are right now, who may also be second guessing college plans for their scholar, what advice would you give them on navigating those conversations with their scholar? And is there something you would like them specifically to understand? So talk to the parents, Pedro, talk to the parents.
Talking to the parents. Yeah. That's a loaded conversation. It's going to be big. It's definitely going to keep you up at night sometimes, but you have to be thorough, you have to be thoughtful, and you have to be honest. You have to explain how you feel, because then that's going to get them to tell you the student is going to tell you how they feel, what their fears are, what they're excited about. And that's really what you have to be. What I believe, I'm not a parent, but what I believe should be very important to the parent is that you have to be able to understand that they're excited. They are going into something incredibly new, incredibly thoughtful, incredibly life-changing, and there's some form of excitement in them. Even if they are very anxious, kind of hard to calm down, they want something new. And I think that's very rare nowadays. So give a chance to your kid to be honest. And if you have to take the first step. You have to be honest, straight up. Even if you have to say that I don't want you to go out of state, it starts the conversation. It's going to be a bit of a rough ride, but you have to be able to put your foot down so they can also step forward. And it's all about compromise. It's about figuring out, well, they kind of want to go out of state, and it's an incredible experience. It's going to liberate them and really make them think about who they are, come back to you a better person, a better them. You're going to recognize an entirely new individual whenever they come back home. But it's for them. It's something that is going to also help you, because they're going to be coming back, enjoying every moment they spend with you, like spending their time wisely. That's what they're going to learn.
How'd that conversation go with your parents? I'm curious, because you are one of the rarities, that decided to go out of state and made that leap. And I remember you seemed, like you said, very excited about it, which some kids are more afraid, and then definitely parents, I would say, fear of the unknown. So what did that conversation look like with mom?
It was a long, probably from like directly after school until maybe 11 at night. It was a long conversation, very honest. I was just saying what I had in my mind, saying what I needed to say. And there were moments where it was like, well, we're on completely opposite sides right now. You're not seeing my side, I'm not seeing yours. And I felt like I had to understand, yes, that's my mom. If I make her cry right now, I'm going to cry myself. So I try and keep that to a minimum. And having that conversation with my parents, it was really big. But in the end, it was just another way to get closer with them, another way to let them know that this is me. It's a very exposing experience that I think most kids really want to have with their parents at least once, so they can really get in touch with them. Because it's a fear to lose your parents while gaining an entire new experience. You never know how your mind is going to change. You always want to have what's familiar next to you.
Yeah, thanks for being vulnerable about that experience, Pedro. You're right. It reveals those vulnerabilities within our own family. It reveals the fears that maybe we're not so willing to share, right? Like just out of the blue, but these conversations really force it out of us. And it can be a true moment where, although there's disagreement and there may be conflict, it's an opportunity to get to know each other more deeply and to have that relationship be strengthened. That's really good. I'm curious to also hear, what about your experience when you were at Babson, like on campus, that you feel like was really instrumental to your growth or to your learning, that, you really feel as, is the investment that you're talking about, that you're getting those returns on?
The captivating experience about campus, it was the terrifying unknown. It was the incredible amount of opportunities that I was just introduced to. All of a sudden, just one day I'm plopped down somewhere that is now going to be my home for the next couple of months. And I'm going like, there's so much to do. There's so much to say. There's so many people to talk to. There's so many events planned already. I didn't even know there was this coming up next week. What's going on here? this is my plan already, and somebody made it for me before I got here. And that was instrumental, because as you go through the flow of college, you meet people that you're going to be friends with, that you're going to study with. It becomes almost this tribal experience where you're now part of this group of people, all united by a common educative purpose. I mean, you are going in together into the unknown, and it's very knitting. It forms a group that could last a lifetime. And right now, I definitely have friends that they're like, yeah, if you ever want to just come over and sleep over here for like 2 weeks or two, even though they're in Boston, I'm like, yeah, that sounds great. Just come over. Because of the late nights that we've stayed up together, the 5 a.m. sessions of studying, the preps before the test, it was a big experience. And it was almost intuitive, the way that you get onto campus, how everything flows together, even though you don't really know the speed of the ride. It's just going to be taking you with it.
I always liked how you were able to jump in and just kind of take the risk. So I did find that to be, I was never really worried about you because of that, which was a lovely thing, that I didn't have to worry about you. You were always very open and willing to try something new. So I appreciate that.
So that wraps up the questions we had prepared. Not sure if there was any more that we wanted to ask, or if we wanted to open up for Q&A. All right, cool. Well, I know we have a couple of parents on the call now, so you can use the chat, or if you want to take yourself off mute. If you have any questions for Pedro and about his experience, or maybe if you want to get a little insight on how his parents responded through this transition, we'll now have time for questions.
I can ask a question, if you don't mind, while others are trying to think of one, maybe. Pedro, I really want to say how much I've enjoyed your story. You have always been such a wonderful Peak scholar, and I'm just so happy to hear that you had such a positive experience, even under such difficult circumstances during COVID. My question to you is, I'm also a parent of 2 juniors. They're about to go into their senior year, and they're thinking about staying closer to home because of COVID. And they're afraid that there may not be enough support, or that they wouldn't have a support system when they get on a different college campus. While they are presented with multiple opportunities to go out of state and maybe further away from home. My question to you is, if you could share with us, what different support systems have you found on your campus when you got there that maybe were surprising or maybe expected, that you can kind of share with us and give the scholars and their parents a peace of mind that things like that do exist on a college campus, and that they really shouldn't worry as much as they may be worrying right now?
Support systems, they're everywhere on campus. They are not hard to find. They love to come up to you and tell you like, hey, you're hungry? Come over here at like 7 o'clock, and we have boba and some fried chicken. And it's like, oh, that sounds great. And then they give you an entire lecture about how this support system can help you find grants and help you find opportunities for internships. And it's like, well, I just got double the amount of meal that I wanted to at the beginning. I came in here for boba, and I got an entire group of people that I can network out of now. So it's really about, and virtually right now, it also depends on answering emails. But even when off campus, it's really about just one person, just reaching out making the first move. For your children, Ms. Gonich, I would definitely recommend, finding somebody that just a club activity, maybe. If they're really into maybe a card playing game or maybe just a band or something like that, there's going to be people there who have experienced the same exact type of emotions they're experiencing, that will introduce themselves kindly and go up to them and be like, I know it's a bit scary, but I can help you out. There's going to be ways to find people, and you might not believe that they're there, but you just have to be open about, as I'm talking to a student right now, you have to be open about, sometimes there's moments where we find ourselves unable to communicate the fears that we have, the anxieties. So having a person that you've never seen before is kind of liberating, being able to tell somebody that this is a bit tough. I'm missing my family. I'm missing the home food. It's kind of scary in my dorm. It's really about just answering the phone, picking up the text, looking at your emails. They will reach out to you. They have your email. They made it for you. If you're going to a college, they know where you're at. So just make sure that you don't shy away from it, because there's going to be moments where your body immediately looks at the email and reads it through and then just slides away, looks to the next one, because you're kind of afraid to show your weaknesses. But just, nobody's going to know. It's mostly anonymous if you do have an email. I get a lot of support from anonymous groups. That's what colleges love to do nowadays. They definitely like to provide the student with a lot of ample opportunity to feel safe, because that's what's important, being able to communicate safely.
Thank you so much for that. I think it's very different for our kids, whether they're like our students or our personal, like our own kids, to hear it from those of us who've been with them for their entire life, and they go, yeah, mom, I know. But it's wonderful for them to hear a personal experience from someone who is much closer to their age and who is going through this just a couple of steps ahead of them. Because when most of us went to school, when I went to school, that was many years ago, and a lot of things have changed since then. And we didn't even have personal emails on campus. So not to even go into any further detail about additional technology and advances since that age. But thank you so much for sharing that.
I think we'll do a last call for questions. I didn't see any come through the chat, but if you are wanting, or if you're waiting to unmute yourself to ask, we'll do a last final call for any questions for Pedro. All right, well, we can start wrapping up. So I'll just share some words, and then I'll hand it over to the Peak team to close us out. But Pedro, I just want to say thank you for taking the time to join us tonight and sharing your story and your experiences. I am fired up after hearing what you had to say, and I can't wait to share this with our students at Peak, but also I think other Uplift schools, because your insight and wisdom, as Ms. Gonich said, to hear that from a peer can land differently than maybe hearing it from a dean or a teacher or their own parents, right? And so, yeah, thank you so much, and super excited for you and excited for what you're going to do as you continue out your college experience, but also as you start planning and thinking about the career field. So thank you.
It is my pleasure. I really enjoy it, because these are the exact things, well, for now, virtually, these are the exact things that help new students get through. That's definitely, if I was on campus right now, there definitely would have been a seminar right now that had some alumni speaking, and I would have been like, oh yeah, okay, that makes sense. Maybe I can use that. So thank you for giving these people, giving these students, these parents, the opportunity to listen, because it's a scary process, and there are fears to quell that you just have to be able to embrace the terrifying unknown.
And I just want to echo what Mr. Ortiz just shared, and thank you so much, Pedro, for being here with us this evening. I know this is your free time, and we're taking the time away from your studies and from your family. I also want to thank Mr. Ortiz for organizing everything, Ms. Orsini for being here on her time, putting extra hours, and all of the parents who have joined us this evening. And once again, we will share the information. I'll share my contact information in the chat. If anyone has any additional questions or need to make a connection to our Peak campus or anyone who can provide additional support, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. I would be more than happy to make that connection on your behalf. And thank you all so much for being here.
I'm proud of you, Pedro. I know you probably hear it from so many people all the time.
Yes.
I'm proud of you.
Keep pushing through. Almost halfway there.
Almost halfway there. Thanks. I mean, I rarely hear it nowadays, so it's kind of nice to hear. Thank you.
50%, almost done. Wait till the
Yeah.
summer and you're going to be 50% done with your college. That's
Yeah,
amazing.
the whole experience is all thanks to the opportunities I was given at Uplift. So thank you all.
Oh, you're so sweet.
That's awesome. Have a good night, everyone. Thanks for joining us.